Brunson scored 17 against Cleveland in 12 minutes. Cleveland scored 11. A 22-point Cleveland lead with 7 minutes and 52 seconds left in regulation. The win probability model gave the Knicks 0.1%. The all-time playoff record for teams trailing 22 in the fourth quarter was 1-594. Brunson went 8 of 10 from the floor across the final 12 minutes and 49 seconds. 8 different switches, the same defender on his hip every time. Cleveland kept running the switch. Brunson kept finding Harden. This is the story of how a 0.1% team won in 13 minutes and why the chalkboard says it was never about probability. Let's start with what happened at 7 minutes and 52 seconds left in regulation. Cleveland leads 93-71. A 22-point lead. The win probability model says New York has a 0.1% chance to win. The all-time playoff record for teams trailing 22 in the fourth quarter was 1-594. One team had ever come back from that deficit in playoff history, the 2012 Clippers against Memphis, a 24-point rally. That was the only data point on the entire chalkboard. So what ESPN said Tuesday night and what every aggregator said Wednesday morning was the simplest story. Brunson got hot. The Knicks made shots. Comebacks happened. The 1-594 record exists because comebacks are rare, not because they are impossible. The chalkboard disagrees on the framing. A 0.1% win probability is not a prediction. It is a description of the structural state of the game. Cleveland had every variable on its side. Score, time, possession, momentum. Mitchell and Harden both rolling, Mobley anchoring the paint. The one variable Cleveland controlled completely was their defensive coverage. They ran switch 1 through 5, switch on every Knicks pick and roll. Switch is the safest playoff coverage when you have 5+ defenders. Nothing leaks, nothing rotates, the geometry is closed. That coverage was on the floor when the lead was 22. It was still on the floor 12 minutes and 49 seconds later when the lead was gone. The Knicks ran a 44-11 closing run inside that window. Cleveland never adjusted the switch, not at possession 3, not at possession 5, not at possession 9. The cliff was not a probability. The cliff was a coverage. 17 points, 11 points, 12 minutes and 49 seconds. That is not Brunson getting hot. That is Brunson running one possession structure 8 separate times against the same defender. Watch the geometry. Here is how the switch hunt works. Brunson brings the ball over half court. Hart or Towns walks up to set a high screen near the top of the key. Cleveland's on-ball defender gets caught on the screen. Cleveland's coverage is switch 1 through 5. So Harden steps onto Brunson. That is the matchup the chalkboard wants. Harden is the offensive engine, not a perimeter stopper. He has not been a stopping defender at any point in his career. The switch puts him on the league's best playoff mid-range operator and asks him to slow that operator down for the next 7 seconds. Brunson does not drive into the help. He does not call a second action. He pulls up from 16 feet, mid-range, clean release. Harden is closing late and tall 8 times, 8 of 10 from the floor. The shot Brunson took was not a hero shot. It was the cleanest look any guard in this league gets against the slowest closer Cleveland could put on him. On the spot, Cleveland's coverage was telling him to shoot from. 8 times in a row. And here is the chalkboard reveal the highlight reel will not show you. Cleveland had 3 known ways to break the switch. Top lock Brunson and force the ball out of his hands before the action starts. Cross-match Harden onto Hart so the switch never reaches him. Send a low man dig from the strong side corner. Cleveland ran 0 of those counters. 0 in 12 minutes and 49 seconds. The switch hunt is one of the oldest mechanisms in playoff basketball. Brunson did not break the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers refused to break the coverage that was breaking them. This is where the box score deceives. Donovan Mitchell, after the 7 minutes and 52 seconds mark, 0 of 7 from the field, 0 points. James Harden, after the same mark, 1 of 3, 3 points. Combined, 1 of 10, 3 points. Across the same 12 minutes and 49 seconds, Brunson went 8 of 10 for 17. The headline reads as symmetric. Mitchell cold, Brunson hot, comebacks happen. The chalkboard reads it differently. The 2 numbers are not parallel. They are the same mechanism showing up on both ends of the floor. The same coverage that produced Brunson's 8 of 10 produced Harden's defensive workload. Every time Cleveland switched, Harden took an ISO possession against Brunson. Every time Brunson got a clean mid-range look, Harden ran through a screen and recovered against a downhill drive. By the 8th possession, Harden's legs were gone. The next time the Cavaliers ran offense, Harden had nothing left for his own pull-up. Mitchell's 7 misses were not a cold night either. 4 of the 7 came late in the shot clock after the Cavaliers' first action got disrupted. 2 were contested stepbacks against Mikal Bridges. 1 was a transition pull-up after a Knicks miss the Cavaliers failed to push. The Cavaliers had no second option behind Mitchell and Harden. Mobley and Allen are not on-ball creators. When the primary 2 stalled at the 7 minutes and 52 seconds mark, the offense had no third lever to pull. 1 coverage, 2 collapses. The switch hunt on offense became Harden's defensive load. The defensive load became Cleveland's late clock offensive collapse. Brunson did not need to be miraculous. Cleveland's coverage cost them both halves of the game. Cleveland had 2 choices at 7 minutes and 52 seconds. Keep running the safest coverage in playoff basketball and trust that a 2-touchdown lead absorbed any single guard's run, or admit that switch coverage was the worst possible coverage for the matchup the lead was supposed to protect. They chose the first option. They kept choosing it after possession 5, after possession 7, after possession 9. Brunson took the same pull-up over Harden 8 times, 8 different chances for Cleveland to break the switch, 0 adjustments. The 1 in 594 record was never about probability. It was about coverage discipline under pressure. Cleveland's switch coverage was the safest coverage in playoff basketball and the worst coverage for protecting the lead it was protecting. Cleveland's coverage discipline became coverage paralysis, and the chalkboard caught up. It always does. The Knicks ran a 44-11 closing run while Cleveland's scheme refused to move. Now the Steel Man, the version that will run in every post-game podcast this week and the version that has the strongest claim to being right. Brunson got hot, Mitchell got cold, comebacks happen. The 1 in 594 record exists because comebacks are rare, not because they are impossible. There is no scheme story here, there is a shot-making story. That argument would survive if Brunson's 17 points came from a varied shot menu. A few transition pull-ups, a couple of broken play threes, a tip-in, a free throw run. They did not. Brunson's 8 of 10 came from one possession type repeated 8 times, same screen geometry, same defender on his hip, same mid-range pull-up. The repetition is the proof. A hot shooter takes the shots the game gives him. A coverage failure takes the same shot over and over because the defense is telling him to. Cleveland told him to. They refused to stop telling him to. 3 Cleveland choices, not 3 court zones. Zone 1, the coverage, switch 1 through 5, untouched for 12 minutes and 49 seconds. Zone 2, the counters not run. Top lock Brunson, cross-match Harden, corner dig, all available, all ignored. Zone 3, the downstream collapse. Harden depleted, Mitchell forced. Cleveland's tertiary scoring exposed. A 0.1% team does not win without a 99.9% assumption. Cleveland's assumption was that the switch would hold. The switch held. Cleveland just stopped guarding it. Game 2 is Thursday night at Madison Square Garden. Cleveland's coaching staff has 48 hours to decide whether the switch survives this series or whether the switch is the series. If they top-lock Brunson, the Knicks pivot to Towns on the elbow. If they cross-match Harden, the Knicks attack Mitchell. There are answers on both sides of the chalkboard. The question is whether Cleveland writes one this time or whether the same switch cost them the same game twice. Until then,